Thought cannot bring about a change in itself.
Yes, and yet practically everything that mankind has been trying to do is based on thought. Right?
Thought.
And there is a limited area, of course, where that's all right, but we cannot, therefore, as we said, we're discussing before, do anything about the future of mankind from the usual approach. Right?
So look, that's what when you listen to the politicians who are so very active in the world, they are creating problem after problem, and to them thought is the most important thing, ideals.
Well, nobody, and generally speaking, nobody can even know of anything else, you see that?
Exactly. We are saying the old instrument, which is thought, is worn out, except in certain areas.
Well, it never was adequate except in those areas, I mean.
Yeah, of course.
But, and man has always been in trouble, as far as we can remember, as far as history goes, right?
Yes, sir, man has always been in trouble, turmoil, fear. We mustn't reduce all this to an intellectual argument, but as human beings, facing all the confusion of the world, can there be a solution to all this?
Yes, well, and that comes back to the question I'd like to repeat, that it seems that here there are a few people, who are talking about it, and perhaps meditating, and so on. But how is that going to affect this vast current of mankind?
Probably very little.
But see, I think
why do you really will it affect? It might or it might.
It might not. It might or it might not.
Might not.
Yes.
But then one puts that question. Then what's the use of it?
Yes, that's the point. That I think there's an instinctive feeling that makes one put the question.
Yes. I think that's the wrong question.
But it's a wrong question. You see, that is the first instinct is to say, what can we do to stop this tremendous catastrophe?
Yeah. But if each one of us, whoever listens, sees the truth of this, that thought in its activity, both externally and inwardly, has created terrible mess, great suffering, then one must inevitably ask, is there an ending? Is there an ending to all this? If thought cannot end it, what will?
Yes.
What is the new instrument that will put an end to all this misery? See, there is a new instrument, which is the mind, and so on, so on.
Yes.
Which is intelligence. But you see, the difficulty is also people won't listen to all this. They have come to definite conclusions, both the scientists and the ordinary layman like us. They won't listen.
Yes, well, that is the sort of point I had in mind when I said that a few people don't seem to have much effect.
I think, after all, few people have changed the world. Hitler was whether good or bad, that's not the point.
But he didn't change it fundamentally.
No, he changed the world superficially.
Yeah.
The revolution of the Bolsheviks, the communists, has changed, but they come to the same pattern again. Physical revolution has never changed psychologically human state.
Well, do you think it's possible that say a certain number of brains coming in contact with mind in this way will be able to have an effect on mankind which is beyond just the immediate obvious effect of their communication?
That's right.
I mean, obviously, whoever does this may communicate in the ordinary way, and that have a small effect. But now this is a possibility of something entirely different, right?
See, I've often thought about how do you convey to all this rather subtle and very complex issue, how do you convey all this to a person who is steeped in tradition, who is conditioned, and won't even take time to listen, to consider?
Yes, well, that is a question. You see, one point you could say is that this conditioning cannot be absolute, an absolute block, or else there would be no way out at all. But the conditioning may be thought to have some sort of
Yes?
permeability.
Well, after all, the Pope won't listen to us. But the Pope has tremendous influence.
But is it possible that every person has something he can listen to if it could be found?
If he takes little patience,
Yeah.
who will listen? The politicians won't listen. The idealists won't listen. The totalitarians won't listen. The deeply steeped religious people won't listen. So perhaps, that's the whole point. So-called ignorant person, not highly educated and conditioned in his profession, career, money, the poor man who says, I'm suffering, please let's end that.
Well, but he doesn't listen either, he says. He wants to get a job, you know.
Yeah, of course. He said, feed me first. We have been through all this for the last 60 years. The poor man won't listen, the rich man won't listen, the learned won't listen, and the deeply dogmatic religious believers don't listen. So that perhaps it's like a wave in the world, it might catch somebody. I think it's a wrong question to say, does it affect?
Yes, all right, we say that brings in time, and that's becoming, you know, a cycle, it brings in the psyche in the process of becoming again. But
if you say it must affect mankind.
Well, but are you proposing that it affects mankind through the mind directly rather than...
Yes, yes.
That we're taking very seriously this...
It may not show immediately in action.
Yes, you're taking very seriously what you said, that the mind is universal and is not located in our ordinary space.
Yes.
Is not separate, it is not...
You see, there is a danger in saying this, mind is universal. That's what some people say, the mind. And it's become a tradition.
Well, you can turn it into an idea, of course.
Yeah, of course, that's just the danger of it, that's what I'm saying.
Yes. But what you're saying is that, well, really the question is, we have to come directly in contact with this to make it real, right?
That's it. They can only come into contact with it when the self is not, to put it very, very simply. And therefore, when the self is not, there is beauty, there is silence, space, then that intelligence which is born of compassion operates through the brain. It's very simple.
Yes.